Have you ever felt like no matter how hard you work, your financial life just seems stuck? What if I told you that in just 6 months, I completely transformed my financial reality with a few simple mindset shifts? Today, I want to show you exactly how it happened. And if you apply the same principles to your life, you can completely change your relationship with money too. For a long time, I believed that earning more was the only solution. But even when I managed to increase my income, my expenses went up too. It was like running on a treadmill working, paying rent, covering my credit card bill, and by the end of the month, there was barely anything left. Ever felt like that? Working hard but feeling like you're not moving forward? I know that frustration all too well. And things only started to change when I realized the problem wasn't how much I earned, it was how I thought about and handled money. That's the mindset shift I want to talk to you about today. So, what changed? What was the turning point that broke the cycle and transformed my financial life in 6 months? I'll share the key steps of this journey with you. We'll talk about how to reprogram your financial mindset, eliminate harmful habits, create multiple income streams, and invest strategically in the US. All of this using simple but powerful concepts. If you apply these ideas, you can build a solid path toward financial freedom. Ready for the first step? It all started when I realized that the financially successful people I admired thought about money in a completely different way than most people do. While I saw money as something scarce, they saw it as a tool to reach bigger goals. They were in control of their finances and made strategic decisions. The turning point came when I read a book that said, "Your financial situation is a reflection of your mindset. If you think money is hard to make, it will be. But if you believe money can work for you, everything starts to shift." That's when I decided to change the way I thought and acted around money. That mindset shift was the first step in my transformation. Next, I realized I needed knowledge. Till then, I was just earning and spending without any real understanding of personal finance. I'd never created a budget, let alone invested. I started educating myself. I read books, took online courses, and watched videos from American financial educators. I learned how credit works in the US, the importance of credit scores, strategic credit card use, how 401s and Roth IRAs work, and the power of compound interest. I discovered that wealth isn't just about your salary, it's about how you manage what you earn. I saw stories of everyday Americans building solid wealth with smart decisions. That's when I realized I had to be more intentional. And that meant breaking the old habits that were holding me back. During this process, I learned there are 2 types of mindsets: scarcity and abundance. The scarcity mindset made me think money was limited, that investing was risky, and that I had to live in constant savings mode and avoid any losses. I was afraid of credit cards and checking my bank account. But the abundance mindset taught me that money is a resource that can grow. Successful people don't just cut expenses, they increase their income-generating power. I started thinking about how to create more value, generate extra income streams, and invest more strategically. That shift in perspective was crucial. The next step was eliminating the financial habits that were sabotaging me. With my new mindset, I realized my financial behavior was impulsive. I used credit cards like they were part of my paycheck. I bought things on impulse, convincing myself that I deserved it, or just this once. That's when I started tracking every cent. I used apps like Mint, NAB, and even simple Google Sheets spreadsheets to see where my money was going. I cut unnecessary spending and started prioritizing investments. It wasn't about living in deprivation, it was about spending with intention. With this new control, I was ready for the next step, diversifying my income and thinking like an entrepreneur. I realized that relying on a single paycheck in the US is risky. Real financial security comes from having multiple income streams. So I started exploring possibilities, tried freelancing online, invested in US REITs, launched a monetized digital channel, and took courses in high-demand skills like design, marketing, and copywriting. I started small, but even building a solid emergency fund made a huge difference. I learned the importance of putting my money to work for me, not the other way around. With multiple income streams, I gained more stability and freedom. And with that came one of the golden rules of US financial planning. Pay yourself first. That was one of the biggest lessons I learned. Set aside a portion of your income the moment it hits your account. Before you pay bills or spend, invest in yourself. I made it a habit to automatically transfer a percentage into investments, my emergency fund, and my retirement accounts. That invisible account was non-negotiable. With this system, I started building wealth consistently. Investing became a priority, not something to do if there's anything left over. And that's when I began seeing real results. Once I had the basics in place, I understood the power of small financial habits. After shifting my mindset, cutting harmful behaviors, and diversifying my income, I realized the secret to financial success lies in daily discipline. Simple actions, like investing 10% of your income, reviewing your expenses at the end of the month, and keeping your spreadsheet up to date made all the difference. These habits are simple, but require consistency. Consistency is what transforms your finances in the long run. The magic of compound interest happens when you invest regularly, even if the amounts are small. Over time, the results add up. The key is to keep going. Next up, the key point: how to invest smartly in the US market. Investing was one of the biggest game changers. But before I put my money in, I educated myself. I studied the main investment options in the US: stocks, ETFs, REITs, treasury bonds, and retirement plans. I started with more conservative options, and as I built confidence, I diversified. I learned about asset allocation, risk tolerance, and the importance of maintaining a balanced portfolio. That's how I built a solid strategy aligned with my goals. Investing isn't luck, it's planning, and the results show up over time. Today, every smart decision brings me closer to financial freedom. But I didn't do it alone. Building the right connections made a huge difference. One of the biggest leaps in my journey happened when I connected with the right people. I found mentors, joined online finance communities, and started talking to people with more experience. Those connections helped me avoid traps, kept me motivated during tough times, and opened my eyes to opportunities I hadn't seen. Networking also led me to side projects and new income sources. Being surrounded by people with a growth mindset speeds everything up. Finally, if I could go back and start from zero, I'd do a few things differently. First, I would have started learning about finance as soon as I entered the workforce. I would have invested from my first paycheck and learned how US systems work. I also would have been more disciplined from the start. Managing money isn't about complex formulas. It's about consistency, vision, and responsibility. Another thing. I would have trusted myself more and missed opportunities because I was afraid to fail. Now I know that growth requires a bit of risk. And of course, I would have found mentors and communities early on. That shortens the path and helps avoid costly mistakes. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who also needs to change their relationship with money. Financial freedom starts with a decision, and that decision is yours. Let's do this together.